Over 80,000 people have died of fentanyl overdoses in the last year. 107,000 have died of overdoses, from drugs in general. But fentanyl is the absolute big culprit that is causing. It's now the prime reason for the cause of death in young adults, 18 to 45 years old, and it's because of open borders. And quite frankly, it is so unjustifiable to hear Biden say that he has no time to go to the border because he has more important things to do, and that many Americans are dying each year.
It's absolutely insane, and it's really heartbreaking as well how callous we see the administration treating the victims of border crime. As you were saying, Biden sniffing, saying, well, there's bigger things out there for me. I mean, it's the same way he treated our 13 U.S. service members, those who were killed in the ISIS terror attack in Kabul, Afghanistan last year. And when their bodies were being received at Dover, he didn't seem to care too much, was checking his watch, made it all about him. So fortunately, we see this play out time and time again with him. And as we talk about the border, here we are, about a decade, maybe a little more than a decade after what happened with Operation Fast and Furious, where we saw the Obama administration basically giving guns into the hands of cartel members. Not only was our own Border Patrol agent Brian Terry killed, but there were dozens of people killed in Mexico as well with these weapons that were not being tracked. The Mexican authorities were not alerted in the way they should have been. Now it seems like the ATF is trying to wash their hands of it and destroy some of the evidence. I know some of your colleagues, like Congressman Jim Jordan, is trying to preserve this evidence, but do you think this kind of goes back to the administration at large, just trying to cover up for a lot of their errors at the border going back years?
Make no mistake, Kara, the Obama administration botched this Operation Fast and Furious. The consequences were deadly, as you just mentioned. We lost a brave Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry, and now they want to destroy the evidence that's related to it. I don't think so. My colleague, Jim Jordan, as you mentioned, has stated that this is still a matter of very grave public concern, and I couldn't agree more. And as you also stated, prosecutors in Mexico charged 7 individuals with crimes related to Fast and Furious, and really including Mexico's former top police official and a former Mexican federal police commander. And destroying the potential evidence associated with this failed operation, it simply just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This administration goes out of its way to sweep the truth under the rug, and I think it's really to protect a very foolhardy decision by the Obama administration. This was a crazy policy, like many of these liberal woke policies that we're seeing today. They don't work. There's no common sense involved, and it winds up getting people hurt and killed. And it is bad for national security, and this should never be swept under the rug.
No, it shouldn't, of course. That's why you're trying to stop it in the ways that you can, at least. I know you, as we started off this segment here tonight, you and some of your fellow, congressmen from Texas put forward a border security plan. You guys unveiled it yesterday. I was wondering if you could speak to some of the specifics of your plan.
Absolutely. I think this is a plan that was written, the framework was written by Texans for our great state of Texas. No one knows this border and the problems that come with it, the open part of the open border policies. No one knows any better than the citizens of our great state. This is Joe Biden's crisis completely, and some of the provisions in this thing. We need to complete the physical border infrastructure. We got to finish our border wall system. We got to build navigable roads. We've got to ensure that CBP can recruit agents and officers. They're having a hard time keeping people on because of the low morale, because they're not allowed to do their jobs. We've got to fix these absolute crazy enforcement policies of the Biden administration. We got to require the DHS, the Border Patrol, and to abide by the law, to turn away individuals that they cannot detain. They can't give humanitarian parole to really hundreds of thousands of individuals. That is a violation of the law. We've got to defund these non-governmental organizations and entities that actively are encouraging and aiding and abetting illegal immigration into the country. We've got, for goodness sakes, we've got to eliminate this catch and release policy. And as we speak, The Democrats in the Senate are working hard to grant amnesty to DACA and Dreamers. That's several millions of individuals who came over here illegally. All that's going to suffice in doing is to increase and incentivize further illegal immigration, and that's going to be even tougher on our Border Patrol agents. It's crazy, and that should never happen. And then another thing, if you don't mind, I want to say that we've got to enforce these laws and end these loopholes. We've got to end alternatives to detention. As I mentioned, the humanitarian parole, that's got to be done away with. And then let ICE agents do their jobs and target these cartels. Those are the ones. When we hear Alejandro Mayorkas say that he has operational control of the border, nothing could be further from the truth. The cartels have de facto operational control of this border, and they should be designated as terrorist or terrorist equivalent organizations. And we should strengthen penalties for human trafficking and smuggling, and drug trafficking and smuggling as well. The American people are done with this. This is a great plan, and I really am looking forward to working on it and seeing it implemented.
It sounds very strong, and I like that there's teeth involved as well to this to make it mean something. So I think it sounds great from what I've been hearing. And just last question before I let you go tonight. As you were mentioning earlier with Biden that we saw this week, he was in Arizona, but then he sniffs and says, I'm not going to visit the border, and he just jet sets out. I guess he made it even closer than perhaps Kamala Harris. But I know you make a lot of trips down to the border yourself, of course, being in the state of Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you were recently, within the last 2 or so weeks, in El Paso. What did you hear from Border Patrol agents while you were there? And if Biden had been there with you, what would you have liked him to have seen?
I would like for President Biden to come to the border and talk to these brave, heroic Border Patrol agents that are trying their best to do their job. They're pulled off the front line to be Uber drivers, to babysit and do the things that, not do the things that they're trained to do. These are men and women that put it on the line for us every day to enhance our border security, which is national security, and keep us safe. And I think that the president is missing out when he doesn't come, and when he dismisses it by saying that there's other more important things than our open borders, when people are getting killed. You know, there have been 800 deaths of migrants themselves, and over 100,000 dead Americans every year of overdoses. And then the overwhelming numbers of criminals that have come in repeatedly into our country, literally killing, maiming, robbing, driving while intoxicated, and harming American citizens, Texas citizens, our property owners in Texas, just forgotten by their own federal government. And nobody does any more than the great state of Texas and our state government, our leadership, and the state legislature. We're so glad that we're going to have the majority in the U.S. House, where I serve, and that we will be able to help implement these provisions in this Texas plan.